What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan and I am back with my top 5 bets for the week in the world of mixed martial arts. I'm going to give you 4 straight up bets and one flyer here, although the flyer isn't a massive one. I'm going with the strategy I've gone with the last couple of weeks. Hasn't necessarily worked the last couple of weeks, but I'm trying it once more and maybe we'll revert to type after that. Although the first thing, as we always do, is reviewing last week, and you know what? It was a really good week, the best week I think I've had yet. Although we've had bigger monetary weeks, but in terms of the bets, 4 out of 4 last week. 4 out of 4. The flyer didn't hit, but we'll forget about that. The flyer was Jan Lice in the Cage Warriors main event. He was doing well until he got hit and he got knocked out, but he was a plus 400. That was the flyer. We forget about that. 4 bets hit. Max Holloway minus 170. As I said, I thought that was a good price. I didn't think Max Holloway was to be looked past yet, especially at that price. And I think that showed. You know, he had a pretty. It was a good even fight, but he won the fight. You know, I think we would all kind of agree with that. So that was a good bet at minus 170 only. Pretty good price. Sadabusi minus 185 again. He dominated even more than I thought he would dominate, to be honest. I thought it was going to be, 30-27 type of fight, but no, he went in there and he got the big finish. Denis Goltsov, funnily enough, I actually had it recorded before the fight finished, and John Brandon got onto me and just said, do you want to keep this bet anyway for the next fight? So I was like, yeah, we might as well. Sure, yeah, because we couldn't change it by that point. So I had him by a TKO KO at plus 125 to win against Brady, and he won anyway in his replacement fight. And I was looking it up. It was basically a similar type of price anyway, so plus 125 there. And in Kutalaba as well, a plus 200 to win by TKO KO. That hit. So what a week. Everyone in the comment section now giving me lip. Go ahead, go ahead, a lot of you know. I've great support for the comment section. You're the best crowd out there, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all the constructive criticism as well. That's good. But as I said, this is a betting show for the everyman. We'll throw out our bets. We'll have a bit of fun with it, and we'll keep it going. So overall, I'm back over the 50%, 25 of 49 on the year, which, as the Americans would say, which I'm pretty happy with, to be honest. After hitting the plus 200, plus 125 as well, they're pretty good prices, and even the minus money bets were not massive, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then 4 flyers so far this year, which is pretty good considering a couple of them are plus 500, plus 700 type of bets. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm no Ian Parker. I'm no Johnny the Greek or anything like that. No, I'm happy. I'll take it. Right, let's get into next week. So we have a boatload of mixed martial arts coming up this weekend. We have 2 Bellator cards. We have a pretty rough UFC card, and even rougher UFC card coming up the week after. We'll talk about that next week. I'll probably be scrounging all over the place for looking for bets next week. Well, we'll get although we do have Cage Warriors Dublin, and usually when there's a Dublin card, I do pretty well. So everyone better be tuned in for next week's betting show, because I'll definitely be giving you a couple of winners on that. Yeah, that's all next week. But we have One Championship as well this week, and I actually have a bet for that. The One Championship betting odds usually come out a little bit later in the week as well, if you want, fuller odds. But I will give you my picks for that. I have a preview show for that as well, and I do have one bet in my 5 here from One Championship. So big weekend of bets. I'm going to start off with the UFC though. I have one bet from the UFC, a few from Bellator, and One Championship as well. First bet is from the UFC, and I really like this price. So the first bet is Bobby Green against Jared Gordon. It's him to win by decision at plus 115. Now, I looked at the price of Bobby Green, and I came in talking about it. I was talking about it on a couple of podcasts this week, previewing these fights, and kind of looking at it, before you nearly even get into doing the analysis, or before you go back and look at the fights, you just see the lineup and you see who's fighting. And this was one of the fights that stood out to me. I'm thinking Bobby Green, I don't think that's a great matchup for Jared Gordon. So he's fighting Jared Gordon, who, we all know obviously fought Paddy Pimblett last time out and did very well in that fight. And I think it's a very favourable matchup for Bobby Green. minus 255 for Green. Gordon plus 215. Now Gordon, look, he can take a shot. Very good chin, will stay in there a long time. And I do think this fight will go to a decision. I do think this is a fight that's kind of destined to go along. The fight to go to a decision is minus 225, so the betting companies agree with me. A fight to finish inside the distance is plus money around plus 175. So they do agree with me. And then, the Gordon is, or Green is a big favourite at minus 255 to take him to win by a decision to bring you the plus money. I think that is pretty good. Look, I'll give you my reasons behind it. I think I'm a big fan of Bobby Green, honestly. When he's on his day, he can, and I'll say this, people will probably think what you're saying. I think he can beat anyone on his day. The problem with Bobby Green is, I know he kind of gets a little bit in his own head. I think he might, he's been doing it a long time, but maybe hasn't put all of himself into it, or maybe couldn't do it. It wasn't just that he wasn't doing it himself. He's spoken before about, issues outside of the cage, whether it's financial and other things as well. But he's always had the ability to have a good, even fight with most people. And I feel like the longer, I suppose, the years have gone, the more Bobby Green kind of beats the guys you'd expect him to beat, and maybe falters against the guys you think, that's going to be a tough night for him. So the last few fights, like Drew Dober, that's a bad enough matchup for him. He lost that. Islam Makhachev, obviously that's a pretty bad matchup. He's not going to win that one most of the time. But he beat Nasrat Haqparast, a good fighter. He beat Ali Quinta, a good fighter. And then you got Moises and Fiziev, tough ones. But Alan Patrick, Landon Vanata, Clay Guida beat all of them. And that's taking you back 3 years now at this stage. So I feel like Bobby Green has won, in the last 3 years, he's won every fight you'd expect him to win. Right? And he's lost every fight you think, no, he's not going to win that. When he's fighting Jared Gordon, ask yourself this, do you expect Bobby Green to win that fight? I think I do, right? I really, really do think I do. Out of those 5 fights as well, 4 of them have been won by decision. So for him to win by decision, I think is good as well. So what we saw the last out of Jared Gordon, when he fights Paddy Pimblett, we saw that beautiful left hook that he landed over and over. We saw improved hands, although no disrespect to Paddy Pimblett or anything, but when you are fighting Paddy Pimblett, your hands do look better. It's like, I don't know if anyone watches the Premier League. Liverpool were playing Leeds the other day and they won 6-1. They're like, they're looking good now. Well, of course they're going to look good when they're playing Leeds, So I think there's a bit of that with Jared, and I think and no offense to Jared in that way, that he's a good fighter, but I don't think he has the same level of striking as Bobby Green. I also think Bobby Green's ability to stop wrestlers, unless they're a high level wrestler like a Makhachev, has exponentially gone up. Now the only issue is he has lost the last 2 in a row to Dober and to Makhachev. How much of a setback is that going to be for him? To me, Bobby Green looks like a guy who had. He's only, he's 36 years of age. Okay, he's not the youngest, but he's not the oldest either. But he looked to me like a guy who had turned the corner over the last few years. And as I said, even when he lost a few fights, he didn't look out the next time. Even the Fiziev and Moises one, they went to a decision as well. So, I just think he's going to be a little bit faster. I think his jab is going to be a little bit better. I think that left hook that was catching Paddy Pimblett all the time, honestly, I don't think he'll catch him at all. Especially when it was so clear how he's, clear to be seen in the last fight. It was like watching someone, hitting the bag or whatever, throwing their best shot that was just landing over and over and over. And he's probably going to be like, well, here's what I need to do to avoid that, and kind of easily implement what he needs to do to avoid that. So, I think that could be a big advantage for him as well. Like, how does Gordon win the fight? He makes it ugly, makes it messy like he did at times with Pimblett, I suppose, after the first round, push him against the cage and try to hold him there and stuff. But I think Bobby Green is a slight level above, if I'm being honest. And I even think the straight up price at minus 255 is pretty good, but I think the price to win by decision at plus 115 is really good altogether. So that is my first bet of the week. Second bet of the week is a bit of a smaller price, but I really think this is a guaranteed win, and it's Kyoji Horiguchi. He's around plus 225, plus 230. I have him down here minus 225, minus 230. I have him written down at minus 230, so that's the price we'll take him at here to beat Ray Borg. Now, look, I feel like this is a dead cert, and maybe this is a bet you want to throw into your accumulator or something like that, but honestly, and when I looked at this and I saw this fight last weekend when I was preparing, obviously, for my preview, and I didn't look at the betting prices when I was preparing for my preview at all until maybe I think on the show even maybe. But I watched I watched a bit of their fights and we talked about it on the preview show, and I kind of said to myself, "Oh, this is going to be plus 500-600 for Borg. This is going to be minus 700-800 for Horiguchi." And when I came on and saw he was only minus 230, that, I don't know, am I way off? Maybe I'm way off. Let me know in the comment section below if you think I'm way off, but I think that's one of those prices that you shouldn't be getting. I think it's one of those prices based on his last few fights rather than what his actual ability is, because Horiguchi's ability and Borg's ability are, to me, on a different kind of stratosphere. Now, Borg is a good fighter and very good on his day, but also, I think he is a little bit past that day as well. And now, when I said Horiguchi's last performance, he's actually won his last two fights. He won the one in the Bellator versus Rizin fight at the end of the year, and he won a fight in Rizin before that, but he had lost to Mix, he had lost to Pettis, and obviously the knockout of the year in 2021, and had lost to Kaya Sakura before actually coming back and beating him again. So I think maybe how we think of Kyoji Horiguchi, or how maybe the betting lines think of Kyoji Horiguchi has changed. Whereas, Ray Borg, now he's still only 29, but I think he's actually probably had similar sort of setbacks and in similar sort of coming good recently to Horiguchi, but at maybe not as high a level. Now, his last win against Ricky Bandejas, I rate Ricky very highly, a very good win. He beat Cody Gibson and Jesse Arnett before that, so nothing wrong with that. And then, he had the horrific run, I suppose, in the UFC, but a lot of that was injuries, a lot of that was pulling out his personal life and stuff, but still not, he did get a good few fights. Like between 2020 and 2019, he had 4 fights in the UFC. That's not too bad. He went 2-2 in those fights, not terrible either, and he is a good fighter. And I suppose it was 2.5 years or 2 years ish before the Casey Kenny fight that he fought and lost to Demetrius Johnson via armbar. So he definitely has picked it back up. He fought, twice last year, again, once in 2021. So, and I was impressed with him. Obviously, I covered those Eagle FC cards here on Sherdog, and I was impressed with him in that. But I think as well with Ray Borg, and I believe this fight is at 125, which is a little bit shocking, to be honest. Bellator don't even have that division. Maybe I need to actually text Bellator and confirm that. It just makes very little sense that this is at 125, but I don't know, maybe they're trying to make the division or whatever. But Borg has struggled to get to 125 before. I know Horiguchi's fought plenty at 135, so he'd be happy enough to have that there as well. So very weird one, unless you're going to announce that you're going to have a belt or something, which maybe I'm recording here earlier in the week, so maybe by the time this comes out they will have announced that, but I don't think so. But anyway, Horiguchi a little bit bigger, I think a little bit faster, I think a little bit of a better striker. I think probably maybe Borg might have a slight wrestling advantage, but even then I think Horiguchi is a very good wrestler. I was watching a lot of him coming into the fight against Hiromasa the last time, who he'd obviously fought before. And when he fought him before, there was a lot of wrestling, there was a lot of that. And then, he comes in the last time and there wasn't as much, and he wins the fight as well. He's well able to fight wrestlers. He's well able to beat wrestlers. He beat Darian Caldwell in his Bellator debut, and he beat him in Rizin as well. So, he beat Ian McCall. He's beat loads of lads down through the years. Ali Bagatinov, who's a great wrestler. He's well able to fight wrestlers. He even beat Neil Seary as well one time, who's one of the best of all of them. But I just find it very hard. I find it very hard to pick against Horiguchi here. I do think he will win handy, and I think that price, even though, okay, it's minus 230, I do think it is I think it's a great price. Right, the next bet I am going for is from One Championship, and I'm going for Hiroba Minbowa at plus 194. He's fighting, I always ruin this name, Bokang Masunyane. So if you haven't seen my preview of this, maybe it'll be out around the same time as this. I've done a whole breakdown on this fight and all the rest of the fights on the One Championship card coming up this weekend. And I think this is a very, very interesting fight. It's obviously in their strawweight division, which is 115, and, you know, with the hydration test and all that, it's, 125 classes in Sherdog and everywhere else, I think. So these are the two guys who are basically probably number 2 and 3 in the world in that division behind Jared Brooks. Bokang 8-1 now. He fought him last time out and lost towards the around this time last year. They were supposed to fight just, a few months after that fight. It fell through, didn't end up happening, but now they're here and due to fight again. Minbowa as well, he obviously lost to Jared Brooks at a couple of months before that, the start of 2022. They were supposed to fight, as I said, again in the middle of last year, and he hasn't fought since. So they're both coming off of that fight. Look, I spoke about it on the previous show, but I'll speak about it here briefly again. The way I see this fight, I see it as a very even fight, and that's kind of why I've gone with the that's why I have gone with the guy who's the better price at plus 194. Minbowa loves to fight on the outside. That's the type of fighter he is. He'll stay away from you, and then when he needs to wrestle. So I think when you have a fighter like that against a guy like Bokang, who is very fast, hits very hard, switches stances, likes to land a big head kick and all of that, it's going to be hard on him to actually catch him, because he's so elusive on the outside and he's so hard to catch on the way in because he's so fast. Like, it gives Bokang, I think, less of an ability to time him. And, when it's the lower weight classes as well, it's obviously harder to get that big knockout. Now, he has a few on his ledger, absolutely, but when there's a guy like Minbowa who literally sprints around on the outside, it's very hard to catch him. And then when he's so good on the ground, he'll take a bit of the cardio from you. His cardio is never ending. As I said in the previous show, but I'll say it again, a lot of Minbowa's fights kind of turn into grappling matches, jiu-jitsu matches, after he's done all his kind of outside kicking and outside running around, more running than kicking, more running than punching or anything as well. I wonder if Bokang is happy enough to have a jiu-jitsu match with him. I don't think so. I think Minbowa will be better in that area. I think maybe he could possibly catch him. And what he's really good at, Minbowa, is keeping lads down. Once he gets the fight to the ground, usually, like, these are 115-pound men. They're fast and agile and they slip and slide out of everything. Now, Jared Brooks has shown that it's he can do it. So I wonder, like, are they... and it always happens in any division. You see Anderson Silva at the top, people try to emulate him. You see Habib at the top, people try to emulate him. I wonder, is the same kind of happening here with Brooks? And I wonder, is Minbowa thinking, well, I have to improve all around in my wrestle, and if this is what happened to Bokang against Jared Brooks, maybe I need to do the same. And if he is good in that area, and if he can take it to that area and have success in that area, I think he will win the fight. If he can't, I still think it might be tough for Bokang to actually catch him, because he just is so springy and loose and elusive on the outside. I think it could be a real tough one to kind of a real tough one to watch, maybe, until someone gets caught. And someone will, and when I mean get caught, either for Bokang get caught and knock him out, or for Minbowa literally to catch him, which will happen, because at 115 pounds, it always does happen. That's always a fear of Brooks as well. Will someone try to really stay away from him? Minbowa tried to do it and he couldn't do it. Brooks was able to catch him, and he was like, Brooks' striking as well in his last fight looked a lot better even as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be hard for Bokang to catch him with shots. Maybe he goes in and tries to push him against the cage. I think that's a problem because Minbowa turns that around. If he turns that into something where he ends up on the ground or his opponent ends up in the ground and it turns into a jiu-jitsu match as well, he's very good in that situation. As I said, amazing at staying there. Really good at staying on the ground, which is very hard for people in that division to do, Brooks aside. And I think that will be the key here. I think he will be able to... if this goes 15 minutes, he'll be able to control the 15 minutes a lot easier than Bokang. I think Masunyane needs the big moment. I don't think Minbowa does. I think Minbowa needs big minutes, and it's a weird thing to say, but 5 big minutes is easier to get than 1 big moment sometimes in MMA, and I feel like that's what this fight will look like, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I like that price, plus 194. I'll give you my picks for the rest of the One Championship card. Obviously, actually, do you know what? I'll give them to you now altogether because we're in the middle of it, and then I'll give you my last couple of bets. As I said, I went back and forth on the previous show. I'm going with Halil Amir. I know the Denise Zamboanga, she is a big favourite there. I think she's around, the prices are kind of just coming out as I was recording this. I think she was around minus 250-ish or so. I think she will win that. I think the Silva will beat Ficateo as well. He's a big favourite in that one, and Minbowa as well. I have her winning that fight as well. I think Sangio will be a big favourite over Farnelli, and I think he will win that as well. So those are going to be my picks for the One Championship cards. And I think, aside from the one I just gave you, I think the favourites will come through on the weekend. Right. Let's look at the fourth bet, and then we will get to the flyer. So my fourth bet for the week is Raufeon Stots at minus 135 over at Bellator 295. As is Horiguchi. I have a bet from Bellator 294 coming in my flyer. Look, I think it's pretty simple why I think Stots will win this fight. I think he is a better all-around technical striker, and I think he's a better wrestler. So I think Mix has improved. Do you know what? I don't think there's another fighter on planet Earth that's improved as much as Patchy Mix in the last 2 to 3 years. I honestly believe that. Right now, maybe someone else will tell me someone, and okay, and let's put it this way: a fighter who wasn't, a young fighter 3 years ago, like Patchy Mix was well into his career 3 years ago. Let's see exactly where he was now 3 years ago. We'll look this up and we'll find it out. But 17-1 now in his career, so he's been around for a good while. Like in 2021, entering that, he was 13-1. He was fighting James Gallagher and what was supposed to be, was that the main event, or was one of the top fights anyway? And then he did fight him in 2021, and then fought Horiguchi and Magomedov, so he was reaching those big fights in his career. And I think the improvements that he has shown since then have been phenomenal. Now, will it be enough against Stots? A guy who I think as well is just phenomenal. Because look, these bantamweight divisions in the UFC, in One Championship, in Bellator, in PFL, everywhere, they're fantastic. The PFL have a 135 division, or am I gone mad? I don't know. But 135, they have one. Do you know where they do have one? Anyway, the European division. And that's really good as well. Well, you see some of the matchups that are being made there. So I think all around the globe, Cage Warriors too, very good bantamweight division. There is so much talent there, and honestly, I think Raufeon Stots is right up there towards the very top, and as is Patchy Mix. And I said it in the previous show, I was a little bit sad for the two of these lads that they made another title shot from under their feet, which, I think everyone loves that fight, but also I feel bad for Stots and Mix for having to kind of wait around and fight for some silver, bronze title. Literally, they're going to win 2 belts here on Saturday night and not be the champion. I just think that's so wrong. But anyway, forget about it. It's going to be a great fight. And when I say it's going to be a great fight, I do think so. I really do think so. Like I said, I think Stots is better on the feet and better on the ground. And, well, better technical boxer and a better wrestler. if he does wrestle a lot, Patchy Mix is so dangerous on the ground. He has a great guillotine choke. You know, he's won by silhouette stretch, arm triangle, rear naked choke. He can do it all. So it's going to be dangerous for Stots if he gets there. But Stots has shown in the past that he's well able to take guys down, guys that are dangerous on the ground, and beat them there. On the feet, I think he is more technical, and Mix is going to be looking for the bigger shot, but I think Mix has improved his ability to land that bigger shot over the last while. Like, I did obviously a lot of analysis for him coming into the James Gallagher fight in 2021, considering it was on here in Ireland and all, and I looked at him kind of like, you know, okay, people talk down James is striking a lot, but James is striking, he had just obviously moved to James Krause, where's James Krause now at the time, and there was talks of his striking improving. And Mix had a great night there. He had a great night against Horiguchi, great night against Magomedov, and you're thinking, okay, that used to be a weakness. I'm not sure if it is anymore. But I still think that kind of gap will be hard to overcome if it turns into let's say a 5-round kickboxing match. I think Stots' ability on the feet, with his jab, with his technical striking, maybe a little bit more. Like, if someone got a one-shot knockout on the feet, who would I think it might be? Well, you know, it's not that Mix has been knocking lads out, but he has been looking way more dangerous on the feet. So maybe I would go with Mix. Who's more likely to get a submission? Maybe I'd go with Mix as well. To be honest, I'm talking myself out of my bed here. But who do I think will win the fight? Who do I think will win the decision? I do think that will be Stots, you know. Now, Mix as well, if you're looking at that and you look at, see that thing up there behind me, the criteria, and you look at, you know, more aggressive striking, land the bigger shots, maybe catch him in a big guillotine, score highly in the criteria, well, you could win a fight that way as well. But I feel like this one is destined for Stots. I think he is a 5-round fighter, well able to fight 5 rounds. I'm looking at Mix's record here, and he did go 5 rounds against Horiguchi, but other than that, don't think he went 5 rounds against Juan Archuleta as well, so he has gone a couple of times, so I take it back. But you know, he lost against Archuleta, and he's 1-1, I suppose. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm going for Stots. I think he will win the decision here, but I'm going for the straight up bet at -135. Right, the flyer of the week. So that was my 4 best flyer of the week, and I kind of alluded to this in the previous show anyway, so I won't spend all day in it. But I'm going for Deanna Bennett. She's around plus 380. I see her here at one place, she's plus 360. I'll give you the bottom price here on this, but we'll see how it moves over the next couple of days, I suppose. You go back and you watch that first fight, you watch her fight since, and I think it's hard to say she should be this big of an underdog. I gave my pick over in the previous show. I did pick her to win straight up, and I've often said, you know, if I'm picking someone to win straight up and you're giving me a price like this, then you have to take it. Now, I think it's a toss of a kind 50-50 fight. The first fight was a toss of a kind 50-50 fight until she got finished. Now, could she get finished again? Absolutely. Carmouche has been looking good on the ground. She's been, you know, her jiu-jitsu has really improved. I won't speak about that in depth here again. Please check out the previous show if you want to hear more on that. But that has definitely been a side of her game that has improved the last while. But Deanna Bennett has fought her, and she'll know that. She will know to avoid it. She will know to try to keep it a more clean, technical fight on the feet. And to me, that's a great sign, because that is her main key to victory. I think if she keeps it a clean, technical fight, keeps her at the end of her jab, I think she can win the fight there. Carmouche, you know, she turns into a little bulldozer at times, goes forward, goes through you, tries to land a few big shots, tries to land a few big takedowns. Often, you know, gets them, and she's very good at it, but often she doesn't as well. And if Bennett is kind of really hell-bent on not letting her get into those positions and not letting her take her down, you know, if she isn't willing, I suppose, at times to either take the fight to the ground or get herself taken to the ground, and you know, who's going to be willing to get themselves taken to the ground? But you know what I mean, like willing to go into certain positions. If she's really hell bent on not going to those positions, I think it'll massively benefit her in this fight. I think you go back and you watch that first fight, and you know what, it wasn't a blowaway fight by any means in terms of Bennett on the feet. I don't want to make it sound like I think that, but I do think you look at that and you look at the signs of that fight and you think if that fight could have gone on, if Bennett was maybe a little bit more confident in it, she could have got the job done. And I think this is one of those fights again that if she can do it, I know it's a big if as well. You know, rematches often go to the person who won the first one, and I hasten to pick against that person. But when you give me, I'm picking a price here. I am picking now. I'm lying because I pick Bennett as well, just straight up. But when you give me the price, and I'm talking about Shawnee Sheehan on the betting show here, you give me that price, I'll take it as a flyer. I'll take it on my fiver I never want to see again. Plus 360 for Bennett. That's the flyer of the week. Right. Let's look through some of the other odds here. I'll pick out a couple of fights that I think are not bad odds. Let's look at the UFC main event. I hadn't mentioned that yet. Curtis Blaydes against Sergey Pavlovich. I don't know about you, but I don't know, do I tend to underrate Curtis Blaydes? Because when I looked at this first, I was thinking Pavlovich plus 150. And then I looked at some of the other bets and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to avoid that because I don't think I have the right call on Blaydes. Sometimes I think he's great and other times I think, and then he's like, when I tend to think he's great, he gets beaten. And when I tend to think, no, he wins. So I just avoided this one altogether. But you're asking me to pick that one straight up. I am going to go for Sergey at plus 150. I like that price a lot. I really do like it. Looking at the under betting, I like the under 3.5 rounds is minus 450. The over 3.5 rounds is plus 300. I think this is one of those ones where you go two ways about it. You go Pavlovich to get the knockout at plus 160, or you go for the over. I think if he gets it, he'll get it early. And if he doesn't, as I said, I think it'll go a little bit longer. So even the over 2.5 rounds plus 200. I take it back. I think the over 2.5 rounds a plus 200. The knockout plus 160. I like that. Blaydes by submission is a plus 1,000. Is that correct? That seems heavy. Blaydes by knockout is minus 105. I wouldn't be betting on that. Not obviously ground and pound and all, but yeah, those are probably the bets I would go for. I'd probably lean the over 2.5 rounds because I can't get a good reading it. Honestly, I can't get a good reading. And Pavlovich is actually one of those ones as well. It's hard at heavyweight. I thought Cyril Gagnon was the next coming of Jesus for a long time, so I'm no one to ask at heavyweight. Ask someone else for a bet in the heavyweight division. So Tavares and Bruno Silva. I was surprised again to see Tavares as a favourite here. Looks Silva, is he the best fighter in the world? I don't think so, but Tavares has been around a long time now, taking a few in the last while. So yeah, it's a pick-em enough fight there. I probably will. I'll go for Silva in that one. Another few fights. Then we talked about Green and Gordon. I always like a Smelsberger bet there. He is minus 110 as his opponent, Jeremiah Wells. Ricky Glenn is back. He's fighting Christos Yagos. He is the favourite at minus 162. I like that there as well. I'm going to go with the underdog. I always go with Honey Yaya as an underdog. Give me that Honey Yaya by submission at plus 650. Thank you very much. Can I change my flyer? Can I have two flyers for the week? I'm adding this in as an unofficial second flyer. If it happens, I'm adding it to my record. Unofficial second flyer, Honey Yaya by submission, plus 650. Can I add in by triangle? Because can I make up my own price and call it like plus 1,100? Plus 1,100 by triangle. Give me that. Give me Honey Yaya by triangle all day long. Junior Tafa's back here against Muhammad Usman. They're about even, minus 110. I'll be honest, Muhammad Usman looked absolutely horrendous every time I've seen him and managed to get a couple of knockouts. Junior Tafa had much better. I probably go with Tafa here. Let's see the knockout price. The under 2.5 rounds is plus 250. I think that tells a kind of story here. Usman to win by knockout at plus 350. That's not bad. Like the last time he just caught a lad, knocked him spark out with left hook, wasn't it? So yeah, plus 350 there. But Stone useless. William Gomis is on this card against Francis Marshall. He's an underdog at plus 175. Definitely give me some of that on William Gomis. So that's my underdog play there. Let's move on and talk some Bellator. All the Bellator cards are kind of stuck here together, but a few bets. I think Kana Wanatabe is a pretty good price at minus 140. But as I said on the previous show, you just never know with Alimale. Like, Alimale had loads of improvement in her, but then she lost the title and she was talking about, you know, I'm going to retire and all this. I'm like, you're only at the start of your career. What's going on here? And if that mindset has been adjusted, but let's see. This is one of these fights I sit back and I look, what's Alimale looking like? Definitely going for Wanatabe here though in that one. Pico's a big favourite over Gonzalez here coming in on short notice. He's minus 700. I'm avoiding that one. As I said, Horiguchi definitely going for him. Mixing Stots, I'm going for Stots there on that one. I like my guy Kai Kamaka. I was wondering about the price on that. He is a big favourite there, and I actually think that price has moved. Let me look at that. Well, it did move, then it moved back, so it went out to minus 195. Now it's back in to minus 230. So there is a bit of movement on that. I like him at that price. I like Keone Diggs as well. He is a favourite. As I said again, the Leary Medeiros fight, I was definitely looking at that as one of my my bets of the week, and I spoke about it even on the previous show. That price has also moved again. I think people have recognised that one there. So I think if you're looking at this and you see Charlie Leary over plus 300, I think take that. Leary's a good fighter. When he's good, he's good. When he's not, he's not. So, and I would nearly say the same about Medeiros. He's kind of at the end of his career as well. So I don't know about that one. I really like Mads Burnell at minus 140 against Justin Gonzalez. I think that is a good price on that one. Side Soma as well, he is minus 220 against Tim Johnson. I do think I like, he's one of those safe outside fighters at heavyweight that I like as well. I think he'll be good at that. And as I said, I mentioned the Bennett one as well. Sabatello is coming back here, kind of a little bit of a setup fight for him. He's minus 500. I don't think there's much backing in that one. The Sarah McMahon Arlene Blinko fight, interesting price here for Sarah McMahon. Opened up at minus 250, went all the way in to opened up minus 300, I think, is now all the way into minus 191. That's going to go, I think that's, you know what? I think that's going to go the opposite way again. I think she should be a big favourite there. I do think she will win that fight. Blinko, Pam Sorensen, I feel a little bit like their time is up. I feel like Bellator are doing a good job at the moment replenishing that division. The last 2 or 3 women they brought in that division have looked pretty good. Collins, I think it was Sarah Collins, wasn't it? Last time looked good. McMahon is a good addition to that. You know, Sinead Kavanagh, what a win she got the last time on, and beating Leah McCourt before that. Leah herself put on a phenomenal performance against Kat Zingano, and obviously Kat is right up there at the top as well. So interesting. I like Kacelli minus 175 in that one, and gimme Fortune as well as an underdog. Go on, gimme Fortune at my plus 118 in that one as well. There is a KSW card this week. Ireland's own Henry Felipe, a guy who has a lot of talent. He's fighting Marcin Krasiak. Yeah, he's a plus 150 favourite. Irish hat on. I'll take that at plus 150 as well. There's a brilliant KSW card coming up in a few weeks as well. I absolutely cannot wait for that one. The main event here is Adrian Bartsinski against Artur Spisiak, whose names I pronounced beautifully there. But Bartsinski is minus 350, and I think he will probably win that one there. He is minus 111 to get the knockout as well, so you can probably see where that one is going. All right, that's about it. As I said, I gave you my 1 picks earlier. They're my Bellator UFC picks, but my 5 bets for the week are green by decision plus 115. Horiguchi straight up minus 230. Raufeon Stots minus 135. Minbowa as well plus 194. And the flyer of the week, Deanna Bennett to win straight up at plus 360 against the champ at 125 in Bellator, Liz Carmouche. I was trying to think of her nickname there. What is it again? Liz Carmouche's nickname. She's a bad nickname, doesn't she? Girlarilla, yeah. those are the worst nicknames. Where you take one word and you like add another bit of a word. I hate those nicknames. Those are the worst nicknames. But anyway, what a late career surge she has had, and fair play to her. I'm looking forward to that fight. All right, I will leave it there. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Now is the time. Click that subscribe button. Click the notification bell and get all the good stuff from Shillian, Duffy, Sheehan, and everyone else on Sherdog. My name is Sean Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.